Welcome back to Hoekcycards.se, the podcast with David from Tennessee and me, Patrick, from the south of Sweden. So it's um, it's the Stanley Cup Finals, David.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Excited?
is. Yes and no. I'm not particularly a big fan of either team. And it's a rematch from last year. But you know, I guess as far as rooting interest goes, I would like to see McDavid get one.
Yeah,
But at the same time, you know, eh, also like Bob, so I wouldn't mind seeing him get another one. So it doesn't really matter to me. I just hope it's a good series. That's what I
yeah,
hope.
yeah,
Um, you know, and so far the playoffs haven't been the most exciting. A lot of high scoring blowouts. Um, and we'll see. This one's going to be interesting though. And I will say that, it seems to be that a lot of the experts are kind of split on who they think is going to win. Like it's pretty
yeah.
much a 50-50 toss up. I haven't checked like betting odds. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for it to start, man. Let's do it.
I mean, it's two very different teams
Hmm.
if you look at what they're built like, right? So
Yep.
the Oilers have the best player in the world, McDavid,
Hmm.
and arguably a top three offensive player in the world in Draisaitl.
Hmm.
And then it's like a sort of like one of these old Wild West movies when everybody just starts shooting on all of a sudden, people dropping dead right and
Yeah.
left. It's when they kick in here and start scoring, they can score 6, 7 goals in a period, and
Sure. Yep.
and the team itself, as it was last year throughout the season and playoffs, this year throughout the season and the beginning of the playoffs, they sort of start every game 0-4, right? You know they're going to
Hmm.
concede at least 4 goals in a game, so they have to score five. But
Yep.
the last couple of games now, they've been pretty solid defensively as well. They've had great
Sure.
goaltending all of a sudden, and also, I mean, the goaltender isn't the only player on the ice defending, right? So if the goaltender has great
Right.
numbers, they have a pretty solid defense in front of them as well, right? So
Right. I mean, yeah, a lot of this, which Stuart Skinner is going to show up. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like I mean, it's crazy how so he came out of nowhere last year in the finals to have a really solid finals, right? But in the regular season was terrible. This past year, same thing. Like he
yeah,
was not good.
yeah,
And then all of the sudden, he had a great last few games there and a nice last series. It's like, all right, well, which Stuart Skinner showing up?
yeah.
Um, it'll be interesting to see what Bob does because he kind of had that not the best season, but has looked elite so far in the playoffs. But if we remember the last Stanley Cup Finals, he looked incredible the first couple games and
Yeah,
then got lit up.
yeah,
So it's just what's going to happen here. We'll see. It'll be very very interesting, to
yeah.
say the least.
And the Panthers are built completely different. I mean, of course, they
Yes.
also have star players, but what they have most of all is depth and
Yes, they do.
grit and annoying players who will sort of and the style of playing which will wear you down. They wear their opponents down. Like it's like watching erosion on happening live, right? So and they have
Oh
like
yeah.
I checked this morning just because we were recording this, and I looked up Brad Marchand's stats in this playoffs. So
Hmm.
he has 14 points in 17 games in the playoffs for Florida, and he's on
Hmm.
their third line
Yeah.
player, which is almost point per game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And then if we're talking
It
about
is.
like grit and annoying physical players who will wear you down, you have him, you have Sam Bennett, you have Kachuk, etc. Right? So
Hmm.
a completely different style of way of building a team than Oilers.
Yep. And I think another thing too is I think they're extremely confident in what they can do, right? Like they've been there before, they've done that. There's no pressure on them. There's really not. All the
Yeah,
pressure's on Edmonton. And, so what's going to happen there from like, just a mental psychological standpoint, you know, everything in my head tells me Florida should win this.
yeah,
I don't want to say handily, but they should win it. I mean, again, I think they've only gotten better from the team they had last year. And Edmonton, of course, Hyman's out. So that's not going to help. I mean, you've got all this stuff going on. Everything points to Florida winning, but I just have this gut feeling, that this I don't know. I just have a gut feeling Edmonton's going to take it. It may go 7, and it may not start off looking like Edmonton's going to take it. It's purely a gut feeling because everything in my head, common sense tells me Florida should walk away with this, which is why I'm going to say Edmonton will win it
yeah.
because I'm usually wrong. So I'll
Yeah.
go with just gut feeling on that. Uh, yeah, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's hard. I think Florida is the better team, and
Hmm.
they're building like a dynasty now, right? It's
Yes,
this is their third straight year, right? No, second. It's
second.
second, yeah, right. And they're looking like the team to beat and have been now for a long time, and they're
Hmm.
building a dynasty like Tampa had one before, right? So they could
Yeah,
sort of, or and Pittsburgh did, so they could sort of lay the foundation of this dynasty, and I think they are the better team. And really, I mean, when you look at, I mean, you read a lot of articles and you listen to podcasts and experts who know things, and a lot of them go into, well, they have a better guy on this position, or they have a better guy on this position, or they have a better defender. I don't think it's about that at all when you're in the finals. I don't think it doesn't matter if your number three guy is better than their number three guy. It's a lot more about what the what the team is like, I think, and in a series over 7 games. And I think Florida will be incredibly difficult to win. They wear you down, right? So I think they will be
right,
incredibly difficult in a series over 7 games. The only thing, the only thing really that could change that around is, I mean, you saw last year when Washington lost, you saw the images of McDavid, right?
hmm,
And how he was, his disappointment. I mean, if you look up disappointment on Wikipedia or in the dictionary, there's a picture of him from the locker room after that final game last year. So the
yeah,
only thing really that I think speaks in Edmonton's favor is that none of them want to experience that again. And they're gonna, I
right,
think they're gonna leave everything out there on the ice. So it could be an incredibly interesting series to watch. It could be proper playoff hockey this time,
oh
because
yeah,
they don't want to go through that again. I think not again. And
right,
how many how many opportunities do they really have to actually win a cup? How many finals is this team gonna play? And you
right,
factor in, people need new contracts and things, and they're going to price themselves out of being able to carry this team forward. So it
hmm,
might be now or never for the Oilers, or at least not in a couple of years, right? So
right.
yeah,
And I think, and you're right now. Now they have Drysaitel long term, right? Like they just re-signed him to some monster deal
yeah, yeah, yeah.
at the beginning of the year. But McDavid, I don't remember how much is left on his contract. How many years? I mean.
Yeah.
I think it's just a couple more, right?
Yeah, I don't
I
think.
think
I think
it's two
it's
more,
at
maybe.
least one. It's at least one more. It might be two, but it's not five or four, right? So
Right.
yeah,
But what you said about a dynasty with Florida is absolutely right. And there's so and I believe I think this is their, if I remember correctly, this is their third finals in a row.
yeah,
Um, right? Because Vegas beat them what
right, right. Yeah,
two years
yeah,
ago. So this
yeah,
is the
yeah,
third one in a row.
yeah. Third one in a
Uh,
row. Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, man, they are so tough, and they're so and they've only gotten better. Again, they added Marchand and just you know what better way to they've already got enforcers, and they've got guys that, let's just be honest, play dirty, and they've got guys that is just a, I don't want to call it bullying factor, but a intimidating factor, and they're not afraid to get dirty.
yeah,
And can Edmonton match that? Can Edmonton get in there and put up that same kind of fight and ignore the kind of noise? Um, or are they gonna, we'll see. But I agree with you. Edmonton is gonna be full bore, like this is it.
yeah.
It's just can't man, and injuries could play. I mean, injuries obviously play a big
Absolutely,
part, right? So like if
absolutely,
anyone gets hurt, because Florida
absolutely.
is way deeper.
Yeah,
So, the injuries will play a huge role. So we'll see, man. It's going to be tight. I hope. I
yeah.
just hope it's a good series over
I'm hoping
2 games.
we see. I'm hoping we see 7 games.
Oh, I did
And
too. I did too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because again,
and
I don't really have a rooting interest either way, other than like to see McDavid get one. Otherwise, and I
yeah,
like Bob. So, but yeah, otherwise, I don't care.
yeah.
It doesn't matter to me with these two teams. I'm more worried about what Nashville is going to do in the off season. And I heard, speaking of that, I heard a thing yesterday, and this is just a rumor out there, that apparently Marchessault may already be being shopped.
Yeah,
And one of the teams thrown out there was Toronto. So we'll see what happens there. I don't think he was happy
I heard that as
after his
well.
1 year with Nashville. So yeah,
I
we'll
heard
see
that
what
as well
happens.
yesterday. I mean, uh, if they're shopping him because he is not happy, that's absolutely terrible management. You bring in
Yeah.
the Stanley Cup MVP, the Conn Smythe winner of
Hmm.
the Stanley Cup winning team, and he wants to leave after a year. I mean, that's not a good thing.
Yeah. No, it's not. So, well, but I've also heard conflicting comments too, right? Like, so who knows? But
Yeah,
yeah,
and everything
the
around
Oilers.
Toronto is like a hornet's nest, right? There are so many rumors swirling around Toronto because Toronto is like, I don't know what's wrong with Toronto. I mean, it's cool that there is such an amazing interest, but holy shit, everything gets blown out of
Hmm.
proportion like on a daily basis,
Yeah.
year round. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
And I am curious too to see if there's any residual fallback from the end of that Dallas series.
hmm,
With Auditor getting pulled so quick, and then the
yeah,
comments after the game, and then all that. Like that's pretty interesting. I mean, I don't want to say throwing your goalie under the bus, but I mean, kind of.
yeah,
So we'll see what happens there. Again, there was some injuries and things like that, but that was so lopsided. It was. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
yeah.
You know what I'm
No,
saying? A good series, yes, but a bunch of blowouts, no.
that
Um,
was extreme, really. Yeah.
yeah. And the other thing too is, you know, uh, how tough of an opponent was Carolina for Florida? So maybe Florida, kind of had an easy little run there, an easy road compared to Edmonton. So, maybe Florida's going to be a little too overconfident. You know what I'm
Hmm,
saying? Because
hmm,
Carolina, they're not exactly a a,
hmm.
a a finals competitor, right? So uh, again, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I just think again, head knowledge. If I was a betting man and had to throw
Hmm.
money on the table, it would all go to Florida.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Same
because
here.
my head thinks that, and I'm usually wrong, just gut feeling, I'm gonna say Edmonton. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say
Same
Edmonton
here.
takes it. Let's see what
No,
happens.
but I think, I mean, if I were to put money on this, I'd put my money with Florida as well. I think the experience they have in the team, the depth they have, and the way how they just grind down their opponents. I mean, Toronto was up 2-0, right? Toronto
Yeah.
won the first two games, and it didn't even bother them. They didn't even bother. They just kept on going, just kept chipping away, and they sort of, yeah, just,
So I just, because I'm
yeah,
curious, I just now looked it up right this second. Um, it appears that most odds makers have Edmonton winning, which
really
surprises me. It really surprises me. Yep. So I did not expect that, but yeah.
interesting.
Um, it's one of the things we always say, Vegas knows what's going to happen most of the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
who knows? We'll
That's
see,
interesting.
man.
Well,
We'll
hopefully it's
see.
close. Hopefully it's very close. And I also think
Yeah.
maybe that when the dust settles, maybe let's see how it goes in the finals. But maybe people might think that Toronto taking Florida to 7 games wasn't such a poor performance after all,
Yeah.
even if they had a bad game seven.
Yeah.
They still got them to 7 games, and it is a very good team. So yeah, and
Yeah.
there's this dialogue about choking in Game 7 in Toronto, but there's also this narrative around the core four choking, right?
Yep.
So they had they didn't have a fantastic playoff, except
No.
for maybe Nylander up until Florida, and the Florida series was horrible for all four of them. I think the four of them in total scored 1 goal. It was Matthews, right? So, and if then again, it's this is the thing with a playoff series, right? This isn't the 82 game regular season grind where you have a new opponent every day. This is a series of 7 games, 7 straight games against the same opponent and the same matchups night after night after night. You're doing Whoever's doing a face-off in on the third line is facing off against the same guy night after night for 7 games. So there's a dynamic to that I think people underestimate as well. It's like, well, hey, it's just go out and beat them. They should play better or have a different tactic. But I'll share an anecdote here from when I was young in the 90s. In the Swedish Hockey League, Malmo were in the finals and they were playing Modo, which is a team that's produced Peter Forsberg, the Sedin twins, Marcus Naslund, and a host of other pretty decent NHL players. And it was Peter Forsberg's last season with Modo. He was 18 or something before he was going to go head over to play in the NHL. And best of 5 game series, they were up 2-0 in games, if I remember correctly. But Peter Forsberg, who was their star player, was facing off against the same guy in Malmo every night. And every face off, you could see this guy run his mouth every night, every night. And he got under his skin, into his head.
Hmm.
So from game 3, he won almost all the face offs and
Hmm.
Malmo won that series eventually and won the championship because they managed to get under the skin of their opponent because it's the same matchup night after night, same people facing each other night after night. So and that's a factor I think speaks to Florida's advantage, given given the roster of players they have.
100%. And that's
Yeah,
kind of what I was trying to allude to earlier. Just didn't do a good job of it because it's early as hell here. Um, I've been up on it. No, but you're exactly right. There is no team going to be better at getting under another team's skin.
yeah,
And it's almost like, I know this isn't the case, but it almost feel like when I've watched them in the playoffs, it's like they can just turn it on whenever they want to. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And they can just like almost toy with teams. And I know that's not what they're doing, but it almost feels that way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
we'll let
Yeah.
you win this, we'll let you win that. We're just gonna play around with you. And again,
Yeah.
I know it's not that way, but it feels like that. And but yeah, you're exactly right. That's a great point. Great point. Yeah, I'm gonna show just for the hell of it, right? Because we do cards here, and I don't have any big time cards of anybody in these finals, but just to show a few and to try out the technology that only
Yeah.
took us 2 hours this morning
To
to
set
get
this up at
started
4
here.
a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So Elon, if you're watching, um, Patrick in Sweden is a technical guru and can help you with the SpaceX stuff that's going on there. There's a
That's a
yeah,
McDavid rookie, right? The last one you
it
showed,
is
and the
the
first one was
OPC part.
McDavid. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's
Yeah, it's the
cool.
first one was that the 2016 UD canvases with the let me show it again.
It's like a series of photos, right?
Yes,
So superimposed on each
yes.
other. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I have quite a few of these from this set because I love it because it harkens back to cards from my childhood from Upper Deck, baseball cards. Was
yeah,
it 1991? Maybe even 1990. They did that. And like one of my favorite all-time cards is like there's a Deion Sanders and a Ricky Henderson that have that kind of tribe image thing. I love them, man.
yeah, yeah,
Um, there's a couple of those, some Panthers, just a few autos here. Here's a Alexander Barkov auto,
yeah. From
which you can
metal.
see. There
Yeah.
we go. Yep, from metal. Your favorite. Here's a Sam Reinhart auto on card. Um, this is
That's
the
nice.
extreme glare parallel. Here's another Sam Reinhart auto. Um, one of these days, when we have more than 10 listeners, I'll figure out how to actually show some cards on here. And then just some the Bobrovsky Young
Yeah,
Guns run here. Here's his Young Guns, and then my favorite of his is the Young Guns Retro, just because the coloring on this card,
yeah.
which you can't see because of the glare, but that kind of like blue in the background is awesome. And then here's just a autograph of his from his rookie year as well.
That's a nice
But
auto.
anyway, just a few finals previews cards.
That retro Young Guns is that's from like 1990 design or something like the first year
Yes,
of the Young
from
Guns.
not
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yep. I
yeah,
have the who is it from that year? Sergei Fedorov. I think I have that one
yeah,
actually from that year. And I might have more than that. I don't remember. I'd have to look. But yeah, that's the original. That's the initial
yeah,
design.
yeah, yeah. Right,
Is that
right.
one with that little well, hang on. That little image
Exactly. Yeah, the
down
Young
there.
Guns thingy at the
So
bottom. Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah. So
yeah.
yep.
Speaking of
And
cards,
those are
David.
probably mass printed.
Yeah,
So those aren't,
definitely
those in the billions.
in the
So
billions. Definitely. I know. I mean, you still see like maybe not the Young Guns cards, but you see any rookie card from that 1990 season, which was a absolutely amazing rookie year. I mean, the players in that rookie crop were absolutely insane names, and you can get their rookie
mhm,
cards for $1 any day of the week
yep.
because they printed the cards in billions and billions and billions of copies.
Yeah. And I think that is such a travesty to some of the best players the game has ever seen. And not just in hockey, I'm talking about in baseball, you've got the same situation.
Uh-huh.
Basketball, you've got the same situation. Football, I mean, literally every sport.
Yeah,
Any elite player that came out back in those days, if their rookie card was in, let's just call it 87 and newer, right?
yeah,
They're just so mass printed, they're and it's really sad. It's kind of a you know what's the word I'm looking for? Travesty. Already said it to those players, like um, who are some of the all-time greats, and their cards are worth nothing. I go into my LCS, and every time I'm in there, which is not as often anymore, but you always, I'll be looking through some cards, boxes of cards, and you never fails. One or two people will either come by or call wanting to sell their collection
Mm.
or a relative's collection or whatever. And they always straight up tell them, we don't take anything, nothing at all from the 80s or 90s, with the exception, and
Mm.
they list like three cards.
Yeah.
They'll take
Yeah.
the King Griffey Jr. Upper Deck rookie, and that's the only one. The Derek Jeter SP, and that's the only one. And like a Ricky Henderson rookie, and that's the only thing that they will even make an offer for. They
Yeah.
want nothing else. And
Yeah.
I've literally heard them tell people, because there's a Goodwill, charities across the street, and they'll tell them you might as well just go drop it off there. If it's all
Yeah.
90s stuff, early 90s stuff, and late 80s stuff, they just tell them to just go donate it because they
Yeah.
will give them no money for it.
Yeah.
And people always seem shocked. They but it's really sad, and I, of course, I come more from a baseball side of it, but looking at baseball, literally some of the best pitchers of all time,
Yeah.
your Greg Maddux, your Pedro Martinez, your Randy Johnsons, the rookie cards are worthless,
Yeah.
worthless.
Yeah.
And there's some of the the greats the game has ever seen, right? And that falls more into the mold of, like, now the only way those cards are going to be worth anything is if you get the PSA 10s.
Yeah.
That's where the grading comes in, and that's for more investing and reselling and all that stuff than actually collecting those guys. But yeah, man, it's sad. It's really sad.
Yeah. There's another. If we look at the complete different end of that spectrum, then there's a product releasing next week, 23-24, the Cup. Or actually, it's this week.
Hmm.
It's Wednesday this week. It's releasing 23-24, the Cup, which is um, it's a box which has 6 cards in it, and it's on pre-sale in the US for $1,010. So, how many of those will you be getting, David?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass on that one. And not that I wouldn't love to have some, but and if I could find a single out there somewhere, I would happily do it. And so you on your channel are going to be breaking that product.
Yes, we are one
The
box.
box,
Yeah, yeah,
yep, one box. And I really thought about buying in, but I'm like, man, with my luck, I wouldn't get anything because there's literally a chance you won't get it. It is a huge, what do you call them, like the lottery ticket products.
yeah,
But you tell everybody that too. You made sure and let everybody know this is, you may get nothing. Like,
yeah.
this is a, there is, a huge, is it, because you know way more about this than me, is this the biggest high risk, high reward product out there?
It is
Wow.
it is the holy grail of hockey cards products. It has the biggest, coolest, rarest, most expensive cards you can get in any product. And it's by far the most expensive product you can buy. I think like the closest one is like around $350 maybe, and this one is 1,000. So it's a huge step. But and it's like you said, a lot of breakers are selling people on the promise of you might hit something big here, and we're trying to do the exact opposite in our small
Yeah.
collecting community. Does anyone actually want to try this? We'll try it, but please know that you're very likely to not hit anything at all, and have to splurge
Yeah.
out money for it nonetheless, because it's 6 cards. It's 6 cards,
Yeah.
and you
And that's
could
it.
get,
And
yeah, you could get like a, a super rare Connor McDavid rookie, fantastic card. And I think they will have like the rookie patch autos. I think they will have game used patches, which is they're probably the only product that does that. The others have like player worn. They put the shirt on, take it off, and cut it up. So they think they will have actually game use patches. But yeah, the chance of that is next to nothing, right? And the chance of hitting something worth like $15 is a lot bigger. So
Yeah. I did see where in kind of a similar vein, so extended is always what the black sheep of the flagship sort of, and they
yep,
came out with a thing saying that they've got Ovi who signed 8 cards,
yes,
and one of them is literally signed. I guess it's the eighth one. I don't remember exactly the details, but it's basically like the Willy Wonka golden ticket search, right? So now everybody's going to be out buying hobby boxes of extended, trying to find one of the 8 Ovies.
yes.
Uh, so I'd add some excitement to that one at least.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's I think Extended has well, first they only had Series 1 and Series 2, right? And they used
Right.
like SP Authentic for the last run of the last Young Guns cards and things like that. And
Yeah.
then they started Extended, and it's had a really hard time finding its place. I think 2021 was the first year. It's had a difficulty. It's basically just a collection of old insert designs that are reused as retros for a bunch more rookie cards, really. And also, of course, they're releasing the last 30 Young Guns, but that has also meant that you lost the secondary chase in SP Authentic, right? So that has actually watered down SP Authentic as well. And we'll be breaking a case of extended actually this week, Wednesday or
Oh
Thursday
wow. Okay.
on the channel as well. So we'll get to see what. Let's see if we pull one of those hard signed OV autos you mentioned. But I don't think we will, given the print run.
I
But
don't know though. That would be insane though, man. That would be so incredible. That would beat that Bedard you pulled last time. Um,
yeah, that's a $4,000 card. The Bedard out of
yeah,
15
that's
RPA from Ultimate. That's a once in a lifetime
yeah,
pull. Yeah. Let's pull that from
right,
the cup. That would be fun. But would you?
right. But he,
What would you rather have, David? Would you rather buy a tin of the cup for $1,000, or would you rather buy an Austin Matthews rookie for $1,000, or a Bedard rookie for
oh,
one
the
card?
Matthews. Give
Yeah,
me a Matthews. Give me not. Obviously you'd probably have to. You couldn't get like a PSA 10, but who cares? Yeah, give me a low grade Gretzky rookie. Give me something like
yeah,
that all day long because with my luck in the cup, my best hit might be a Sam Reinhart patch auto, which is like a $20 card,
yeah,
$30 card. You know what I'm saying? Like that
yeah,
would be my luck, and I just dropped a grand on it. And I'll be honest with you right now. So that Bedard that you pulled in that last break, the $4,000 Bedard, if that was my card,
yeah,
I would sell that tomorrow. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that puppy, and I don't sell cards. I'd list that puppy so fast, and I would take that money and I would go find a very nice, a nice Gretzky rookie, a nice whatever. I mean, for me
yeah,
personally, like I'd buy like a Michael Jordan rookie, an Ernie Banks rookie, a Satchel. Like I'd buy like there's no
yeah.
way I would sit on something like that when I can get that kind of money for it.
Yeah, I
There's
think
no way.
it's weird because there's a duality to it, right?
Hmm.
Unless you have an enormous pile of money, there is a duality to it, right? That when you open boxes and packs, you hope to get something like a you hope to get like a fantastic hit. But if you actually do
Oh
get
yeah.
a fantastic hit, it's like I don't want
Yep.
to have this much money in one card. I mean, it's
Right. Right.
I go weird. I mean, this is worth this. I could get a car for this money, or this will. What happens if my house
Yeah.
burns down? I mean, it's like it's too much money in one card almost.
For sure. For sure. And there's people that that I've followed on YouTube for years that own. I mean, 5 of their cards are probably worth 2 or 3 times what my entire collection is worth.
Yeah, yeah,
And they have huge collections of those kind of cards,
yeah, yeah,
multi-million dollar collections. I'm like, my God, yeah, what if something happens?
yeah,
Obviously you got to have that insurance, but yeah, I'm the same way. But even like, and I guess that's one thing harkening back to vintage versus modern. Um, the chances of a vintage player doing something that's going to tarnish their
Yeah.
reputation. And if you just want to look at it from values, I mean, a lot of the great vintage players are dead. They're not going to do anything. Um, but even if something comes out later or whatever, like
Yeah.
the chances of that aren't great. Whereas like a modern player could be all worth, so there was a baseball player a couple years ago, or last year even actually, that was like like the next big chase, right? It was going to be the next big thing. And then he's no longer even in the league because he did some very bad stuff with a 14-year-old girl. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now his stuff, stuff that was selling for 40, 50, $60,000. To me, that's silly to pin your hopes on a rookie that, for that
Yeah.
much money
Yeah.
anyway. But B,
Yeah.
even if you do, this is the kind of thing that happens, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so, um, and that, he's never going to play again.
Yeah.
So, and even with someone like Bedard, I mean, unless you're just a huge Bedard fan, I mean, there's no guarantee he's going to be the next Gretzky, the next
Right.
McDavid, the next anybody, right?
Right.
Especially if he never gets anybody to play with. So, I would much rather just give me the sure thing, man. Give me a low grade Gretzky, give me a
Yeah.
PSA 8 or 9, Austin Matthews or whoever. And I'm trying to think of players whose young guns go for around that money. Nate McKinnon, maybe. I don't know what his PSA 9 young guns go for. I think it's probably more than that, but I could be wrong. Um, but still, or give me a Kel McCarr. I'll take two or three of those.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and that also goes to the point: would you rather knowing about those OV cards? Would you rather break one box of the cup or 7 boxes of extended? Because what's a
Yeah.
hundred box of extended? 120 bucks, 130 bucks? I don't
Yeah.
know.
120 bucks roughly.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
So 6 or 7 boxes of those. I mean,
Yeah.
again, you're not guaranteed to get anything
Yeah.
at all, or at least with the cup, you're guaranteed something.
Yeah.
It may not be a big card, but you're guaranteed something. So anyway, um,
That's also a
that's
difference,
just
I
me.
think. I mean,
I'm not
if
enough of a gambler.
yeah, no, no, and that a lot of people are gamblers who are into this hobby who buy boxes and hope to maybe hit something huge. And I've always been more of a set collector, so I'd probably also buy
Yeah.
7 boxes of something cheaper and try to build like as much as I can of that master set, and get as many
Hmm.
different cards as possible. I think I'd enjoy that more than one box of the cup. We did open it last year, and we're opening it this year as
Hmm.
well. So I will say
Yeah.
that it is a special feeling to actually
Yeah.
open the cup. It is, yeah, it is special.
Sure.
You don't want to drop those cards.
No, no. And I wouldn't want, because I've seen you do it. I wouldn't want that pressure, man. You're a better man than me. Like if it's, someone paid for that car, like that Bedard that you pulled, man, I'd be
Yeah,
like shaking and like, all right, I'm just gonna, let me
I
go get
mean,
the white gloves out. Let me go get the,
I was on
um,
I was on medication for a week until that card actually arrived with the guy who bought it, because
yeah,
shipping, and shipping. We did an episode last week on shipping horror
yeah.
stories. You don't want it. You don't want that kind of card to get lost, right?
Oh
So
yeah. Oh, for sure. Had I won that card, it never would have made it here.
no, don't use
It bounced
USPS for
back and forth
anything.
between Chattanooga and Nashville and Knoxville and everywhere else, but here it won't get to my house.
But
Anyway,
will you be watching any of the games, David?
oh
The
yeah,
Stanley
I'll
Cup
watch them
Finals.
all.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, I will definitely be watching them all. That is
yeah,
for sure. So, looking forward to it. Enjoy that last little bit of hockey before that's over. And fortunately for me, again, I have the next 2 months off, so
yeah.
I don't really have anything to get up super early for, work wise. So that's good. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna try to enjoy all of it. Are you gonna get to see any of it, or is the time difference just they're not gonna start until midnight your time? So
Yeah, more like two a.m. starts, I think. So it
okay,
will be horrendous. I will try. If
yeah,
I'm lucky, they have like one weekend game that's a bit earlier, but maybe not. finals. But I will try. But I will say this: that you and I will be back next week with another
Oh
episode,
yeah,
and where we might be able to show some of the cards from the cup, that the box
yeah,
we
that would be
opened,
awesome. Yeah,
and
yeah,
maybe talk more about the finals. And you can do the analysis then, David, because you will actually have watched the games, and I will probably have gotten up at 2 a.m., turned on the TV, and fallen asleep 3 minutes later on the couch and haven't watched anything. So.
yeah. My in-depth analysis will be all of this team good, this team bad, and this is what happened. Like there's there's not going to be a breakdown. Let me ask you this real quick. So if the Rangers were in it,
Yeah,
if it was the Rangers in the finals, are you
yeah.
the kind of fan that would like set the alarm for 2 a.m., work be damned, get up and watch it, take a
I
nap later in the day?
I probably would, at least for one of the games. I think
Okay.
I wouldn't do that for all games because I wouldn't survive. I'm too old. I wouldn't survive. But and also, I mean, if when they start losing, it's not as fun. When they're down 3-0 in games, it's not as fun getting up for the next game. But
Yeah.
maybe for the first one,
Yeah.
yeah. Or
Yeah.
if they
I
were
just
actually
remember
winning, if they were up 3-0, I might have gone up to see the final
yeah.
game, see them win.
I just remember when the Cubs won the series in 2016, I did not sleep at all that night.
Yeah,
And like just from the excitement, I mean, the game didn't end until 1 a.m., something like that.
yeah,
And it was a work night, and I foolishly hadn't taken off the next day and couldn't take off the next day.
yeah,
And yeah, man, that was kind of, but it was such a high from that. Like there was no, it didn't matter.
yeah.
Um, but also that's why God made Monster energy drinks. Um, so anyway, all right.
Right. We'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for to anyone who's actually managed to watch us this far. Thank you, and see you again next week, hopefully.
Yeah, we appreciate both of you.